Awesome. How was your podcast? What was
It
the
was good.
topic? Oh yeah,
It
you know what? I actually missed to attend that podcast. I had that I guess notification on LinkedIn.
it was a good show. I record for about an hour and a half,
Wow.
and sometimes it takes. A lot of times I get rid of the first oh 10, 15, 20 minutes, um, as the guest sometime is they're getting out some information that they want to get out, but it's not
Hmm.
always a conversation, and I like the
Hmm.
conversations more. So
Right.
sometimes I trim some of that back, all the real detailed information about the business.
Right. Yeah, sure. For the podcast, I think the whole concept for my podcast, at least, is to have it very casual, for people to actually listen and understand what we are trying, the points that we are trying to put forward, as well as have them engage with us. So any questions they have, they can ask us, instead of just being like an interview kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like they can engage, and lots of times they have some questions about it. So I try to keep it that way, so it's more kind of a discussion, a casual conversation than
Yeah,
an
and
interview.
I think probably some guests have maybe been stung a little bit in the past, where they get on and maybe there's some dead air time where it kind of dies down. So I think maybe they've been stung and they want to bring enough information to the show to keep the conversation going as the guest. But we're old timers though, Anam. We know how to keep things going.
Yeah, of course. No, I understand. You are so experienced, and especially you have done like 250 episodes of podcast. That's quite a bit, right? So I guess you really enjoy doing it.
Yeah, I've done probably 280 now or so. I started about 5 years ago, and I did it in order to. I didn't know how the business was going. I own independent pharmacy, and so it's a great way. In fact, podcasting is a wonderful way, even if people don't have a lot of guests, or I'm sorry, even though people don't have a lot of customers, maybe that are. Anim, I'm picking up my voice. Um, it's doubling up on me.
Oh, 1 second.
Right.
Sorry about it.
Um,
Yeah,
can you hear me?
it should be good now. Yes, it's good now.
Okay. So even people who don't have a lot of listeners, the value can be sometime in the guest. And so, it might be local. Oh, if you're a real estate person, it might be local city people that have commissioners and rules. And if you're a pharmacist, it could be local doctors and things like that.
Of course.
Because there's just a relationship that builds between the host and the guest, because you and I did that. There's a couple back and forth and emails and things like that, and you just build a camaraderie and a trust with the guests that you have on.
Of course, yeah, and it is more about sometimes in the beginning I worried about my attendees and the people who were listening, but with time, when people see that there is value, they start joining the conversation, they start joining the podcast, and then I have all pharma professionals and all people who are in the digital marketing world, and maybe some website builders, all like IT people. So it is a great way to connect. Last time I did my podcast with another lady. She is also a pharmacist, right? And she spoke a lot about leadership and all good things from there. And before that, I spoke with another pharmacist whose main topic of mentor and coaching was leadership in pharmacy and leadership just in general. So they both connected because Jess was listening to the podcast, and then this lady, she was talking about leadership, right? So they connected. So this is the whole point of getting on LinkedIn. By the way, you meet lots of people,
Yes.
and just because of me and you, who knows, right? We can get lots of connections, and people who are listening, they can connect with each other, and if they really engage, if they take out the time to listen to what we are talking about, because this is awesome conversation. All of my guests, including you, right? All experienced people. They've been in the digital world for a long time. So
Yes.
people who are just starting, I think this is a great starting point for them to engage, become an audience, and listen to what's happening out there. Right? The more they listen, the more they learn, and then it's a great way of networking. We
Well,
have yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, and that's how it is in real life. When you come into you might come into a party. There's a few people standing around. You just kind of come in, and if you don't know them, you join in
Right.
by listening and smiling and things like that. But
Right.
eventually, you share some words and things like that over time.
Yeah, of course. We are thankful for our listeners. We have Bhargav here, we have Japneet here, Hamad, Usher, and I think we had Maz here coming on and off. But we will be having more listeners as we go on and have our conversation started. So of course, and I'm also recording it, and that will be going on my website. So this is a great way. Again, if people are missing us at this point in time, they are going to go to the website and take advantage of this lovely conversation that we are going to start. So,
Wonderful.
yeah, first question for you is, you have really built an impressive platform with 250 episodes of podcasts of your own, Mike. So, how do you think the independent pharmacies can use content like podcast, or people who are in business in general, right? Or other digital formats to really position themselves as leaders and differentiate from the larger chains? We are talking about independent pharmacies and small businesses that's coming up.
Yeah, and sometimes it's maybe not so much more, but years ago it was fun. I dabbled in writing some smaller books, and my brother is in marketing, and he wrote a book. And a lot of times it's just a value to when you're going to talk somewhere or be introduced somewhere to say that you're an author. Even though it might not mean a whole lot, but you're an author, and same goes with podcaster and things like that. It's kind of fun. Me personally, my guests, they're from across the world, uh, and they're not going to help me locally, but someday should I need to reach out to somebody and need to talk to somebody. We've had that long relationship. As far as local people with the podcast, I maybe alluded to it earlier, where it's a great way, even if you don't have many listeners, it's a great way to
Hmm.
get guests on the show, different people from from your profession around the area, maybe doctors, maybe some of the people that are running the hospitals and things like that,
Hmm.
and you get to talk to them, and then you tell them that you're going to highlight their stuff on your show and things like that. It's a great conversation starter, and it can help a lot with business because you're building that trust up.
Of course, yeah. And the important thing that I emphasize on is that we are building it. We are building this platform, and even if I don't have a lot of listeners, but I am building this up for later, because my podcasts are going to stay on my websites forever, right? And
Absolutely.
yeah, and when in the long run, people are going to know Anna. People already know Mike, right? So they are going to go there. They can get the value that they need, and it is going to help us a lot in the long run. That's the bigger picture that we
And it's
should
an
be looking at. Yeah.
Absolutely, and it's an old saying, and on, but you gotta start. You gotta get through your first handful of gaffes and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. And
Yeah.
if you don't start, sometimes if you don't start, you can't get that stuff out of the way so you can continue.
Of course, and we also now have Muhammad joined us. So thank you so much for all of our listeners for joining in today. We have another question for Mike here about storytelling. It is a huge part of your podcast success, and I think storytelling in general is very important in every business. If it's genuine, if it's coming
Yeah.
straight from the heart. word if it's based on truth. So how can the pharmacy owners use storytelling and authentic conversations to create stronger bonds with their local communities? It could be online and offline. What do you have to say about it?
I always heard about, and I always heard about stories and marketing. People said, bring your stories, and I'm like, what do they mean stories? But then you think about like Steve Jobs with Apple.
Right.
Compare him to, let's say, Nokia or Panasonic. It's like you didn't really think he had a story, but then when you think about it, it's like you don't know a thing about those other companies. At least with Steve, you can picture him up on stage. You know about how he started in the garage. You know about his partnership. He was kind of a-hole sometimes to people, but at least you knew more than just know about him. You knew his past and his story. And so for a local pharmacy, it could be about how back in the day, Grandpa did this or that, or it could be a story about the Little League. How I remember when our pharmacy supported the Little League, and those kids would come in after the games, and they would be so just anything like that to bring people into that story and add some flesh and blood to your message that you're putting out there.
Of course, and it resonates. It resonates all the time. People can join, and people can connect with you on a more human level, and it doesn't feel like you're selling something. But by the way, I think everybody is selling something. There is not a person who is not selling something. Everybody,
that's right.
yeah. So it could be anything, but everybody is selling something, and you really should know the art of selling in business, in your personal and professional life. And I think it plays a huge role there. And looking at, yeah, go ahead.
And I think, Anam, a lot of times, like pharmacists, they don't think they're selling. They say, well, I don't go out and sell. It's like, yeah, but every time somebody comes in and ask for a product, and you say, hey, why don't you use this? My mom used this when she had this problem with her finger, and we use this cream, this arthritis cream, and this and that. It's like that's selling. It's just doing it in a beautiful, deep way with that storytelling. And so pharmacists are already doing it. They just got to keep continuing that.
Right. And it's not a bad thing, but a lot of people, of course, in the marketing and the sales profession, but I think everybody is selling. So the pharmacist would say, yeah, hey, I am not selling something, or I don't like people are selling me something. But looking at the bigger picture, everybody is selling, right? And
that's right.
You need something, right? It's not a bad thing if you understand, okay, that person is selling, but it could be in a subtle way. You really need to build your brand first, build your identity, and you can then jump into lots of things, and people are going to come to your way without you even engaging with them, but they are going to want to engage with you because now you've become a bigger brand, right? So just as an example, I saw your profile, and I thought you do like lots of podcasts, right? So this could be my perfect guest, and my audience and myself, we can learn a lot from Mike. So here we are then. I was a little nervous I because a lot of people I send requests for my podcast, to be honest, and I do not know that they are going to join my podcast or going to say yes on becoming my guest. But what do I have to lose? So I just send a lot of requests to lots of people. Join, and I don't think I've gotten a lot of people saying no. Some people just tell me that their schedule is busy, but they are going to arrange it in maybe 2 months, in 3 months. But I still have that guest on my calendar. And just somebody who is at that position, who is, of course, at a bigger position as of now than me as a pharmacist, as a digital person, right? Their digital growth is more than me. They're coming for an interview with me. They're coming for a podcast with me. That means a lot to me, and that's a great starting point for people who are wanting to start their own businesses. So don't be shy. Go out there, see like the seniors you have in the market in on LinkedIn, especially, and connect with them, ask them questions, ask them if they would like to join you for a casual meeting or a discussion or an interview. So that means a lot, and that can bring more growth to where you are right now.
Yeah, and it truly is a numbers game. I never really thought about that because
Mm,
owning the pharmacy, people would come in, they'd have a headache, you'd sell them aspirin or whatever, and 100% of the people would usually buy something. With
mm,
the podcast, early in the game when I was trying to get guests on the show, it truly was a numbers game. It was like a 20% success ratio, and so
right.
for every five people I asked, one of them would join, and for
Mm,
every 20 I asked, four of them would join, and
mm,
so it was truly numbers, and it was remarkable how similar the numbers were. And so you don't want to say things are numbers, but when you're
mm.
building it, you've got to commit to getting that ratio and getting that denominator high enough to make the numerator shine a little bit.
Of course, yes. And that is very true. Also, if you are wanting to do business with somebody, provide them value upfront. Talk to a lot of people who you want to bring in to your business, or you want to make them your potential clients. Talk to them, send them requests, do something for them for free, something that you can do that won't charge you, right, but your services. Maybe design something for them and send it to them for free. This is how we make relationships, and this is what I am working on right now, and I think it is very powerful because I will get reviews from people. If not money, I will get reviews, right? I will build
Mm-hmm.
relationships. So that's what we want, and that's going to be my network. That is so important for people who are starting out.
Absolutely.
And what about the future of pharmacy? How do you think the digital tools, such as the podcasting, social media, they can help the pharmacies, right? Bringing and building stronger relationships with their patients and foster business growth. Do you think a lot of pharmacy owners they should start doing that, start going digital?
Yeah, I was just talking to somebody today about that, actually on the show earlier, and there's kind of a happy medium, I suppose. I remember my cousins, they're older than I am, but they used to own a restaurant in town. And the problem with that is that when you went out with your girlfriend or wife, you wanted to go in there and see one of them there, and you wanted them to say hi to you and to maybe tease you a little bit and bring you down a little bit and bring your girlfriend up a little bit and make a little joke. You just felt
Hmm.
really special going there. And the problem with that, though, is that it's hard on your schedule. It's hard on your family life because you're there till 11 at night and 2 in the morning, and
Hmm.
there always had to be a family member there. Pharmacy is something like that, too, because for a smaller pharmacy, it was always the pharmacist that thought they had to be there for two reasons. One, to run the show because nobody could do it as well, but two was to have their face shown. And social media can help that a bit. So instead of maybe somebody not seeing you at the pharmacy that day, but you show up on their social media feed and you're telling one of your marketing stories or something like that, it can help that. But there's a happy medium because, well, pretty soon it may not be as effective. You've got more creators compared to how many viewers there are, and it's not the magic pill. I think the story behind it is always be one step ahead with whatever technology there is. Always be testing it, always be trying it. And
Yes.
just to say it's social media, it's like, yeah, I don't know, or it's podcasting, it's I don't know. But but I'm and you are purveyors are always searching for the next technology that can help uh, uh, multiply our efforts.
Right. And I think it is a lot of experimentation. We have to
Yes.
experiment a lot of things. In marketing, we cannot say this is going to work 100%. We have to keep experimenting. Maybe try something, but do not just try and do it for a month and then just drop it. Keep going, add more things into it, add something else, try something new, and
Yes.
keep going with that. It's not something that is very quick and you can get your results in a month or 2 months. It takes time. What do we have to lose? We are just building ourselves and building our growth on the digital platforms. You raised a very good point that even if somebody did not meet us in the pharmacy because we were not present there, but are we present on social media? We are present right in front of their phones, right? They can connect with us right there. That is more powerful, I would say, because if they can text us on our social media and we can reply them as pharmacists, as business owners, they are going to love it because we are personally making a relationship with them that no bigger brands are doing at this point.
Yeah, and you always have to stay one step ahead of them because here let's say you and I do that, and then all of a sudden we, along with everybody else, is able to put our voice into AI, or at least have AI text on our behalf. And now it kind of looks like everybody's out there having these relationships. So it's like, well, now what am I going to do? So you've got to you've got to keep trying. And to your point of experimenting, it's like there's two great reasons to experiment. One is, well, three great reasons. One is you learn how to do things,
Hmm.
you learn the technology. Two is you may get lucky, you might not lucky, but you might hit some people that see you.
Hmm.
But three is it keeps yourself moving, it keeps your mouth yapping, and it keeps you on
Hmm.
the video and things like that.
Hmm.
It keeps you get the practice of putting yourself out there, and the more you put yourself out there, the words come easier and the smiles come easier on camera and things like that. So it's that movement that you have to have, perpetual movement.
Right.
And whether the camera or the microphone picks it up, that might be another story, but you got to
Hmm.
keep moving.
Yes, of course. And then you get into this habit and it becomes part of your life. It's no more something
Yes.
tedious. And it's no more a job for you. It's part of your life. You
Yes.
have scheduled yourself around that and it becomes so easy. It is like a game for you. It's like a children's play for you.
Absolutely.
You don't think that, oh, it is a big thing, because I remember when I was going to host my first podcast, I was very nervous because I did not know how am I going to speak. Are people going to listen to me if I have some audience? What if something goes wrong? Technically, something goes wrong in my wordings. What if I say something wrong? Things like that, and people are going to listen to me. What about my career? What about my position and reputation on LinkedIn? But as soon as I started doing it one after another, and by the way, I'm doing it one every week, preparing myself for it, asking my guests, and also letting them know what they are expecting on the podcast. This is becoming easier day by day, and
Yes.
I think lots of new people are also joining us, and
Well,
yeah.
and now here's the thing too. I say a lot of stupid stuff, but I probably say more stuff that's not stupid than is stupid. And so the more you talk, the more you're on film or recorded or podcasting, the
Right.
more you do it, you're going to say more stupid stuff,
Right.
but the percentage of stupid stuff is going to go down because there's a lot of you out there. So, let's say your first interview, you make some boneheaded mistake.
Hmm.
Well, do another 10 interviews. Now it's only 10% of your stuff doesn't look
Right.
good instead of 100%.
Right. But I'd say it's coming from the heart. It is more natural. We are making mistakes. That's okay because it is not a
Yep.
recorded session. It is
Yep.
live. It is more natural, and that's what I love about it because it's more casual and easier. Who would have known that I can ask Mike some questions here? He is a big podcaster, right? He is a big pharmacist, having decades of experience, and he is going to respond me here and something that my audience can take advantage advantage of some value that he can provide, because it is live and it is coming straight from the heart. It is not polished or behind the curtains. It is live. So that's what I like about doing these live podcasts.
Yeah, that's anytime you're bringing something from the heart, uh, there's room for error, and people know it's just a human speaking. And as soon as you polish something up too much, now you've raised the expectation up, and that's hard to
Right.
meet.
Yeah. And also, you raised the point of AI. So I actually love AI, and I use a lot of AI for my clients as well. So by the way, like using AI, and some people are also making videos using their AI, giving out their content. Like for example, on YouTube, if I am a human and I'm only able to create one video myself, and then I can make copies of it through AI. So every day some video is going to go for from myself through AI on the platforms. So the whole point is, at least I am making an effort. At least I am there every day of the month, right? Considering other people and my
Yes.
competitors who are not able to do it. So even if you are doing AI, even if you are back behind the camera or behind the mic, in front of the camera, in front of the mic, it does not matter. As far as you are creating content, coming online, doing something for your audience, you will build audience day by day, and it's very powerful.
Well, and you have to, as I alluded to earlier, you've got to stay in the game, because who knows what's going to come out next? Whether it's, I don't know, whatever, whether it's drones, something with marking. I can't even imagine what it would be. But you're not just going to jump into something, no matter how easy it is with AI. It's going to go to the people who have been persisting with the earlier technology.
Right.
Those are the people that are going to pick up on the next technology a lot faster, and it is a speed game.
Yes, it is. It is really. And for our clients, the pharmacy owners, the digital marketing that we are providing to them, we are actually installing the chat bots onto their websites, onto their social media. So even when they're not online and they cannot reply to anybody and everybody all the time, 24 hours, the bots are replying to them. At least we have our leads. We have documented who came, who asked
Mm-hmm.
what, and we have bots on their website. We have chat widgets who can reply to answers like, what time is your store open? Do you have a certain medication? Do you have a prescribing pharmacist? So simple questions and answers. We have it all installed through AI. So this is technology that we are using. So we are one step ahead for people who are using our services. And lots of people, lots of pharmacists, they have no interest in going digital because they think like, hey, we are pharmacists. We do not need to go on LinkedIn. We do not need to be on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram for that reason. So they are hesitant and they're like, oh no, we do not need to go there. But I would say anybody, even if you're working 9 to 5, you need to be out there. So you all of your steps are documented, and you have more potential and more opportunities than people who are not there.
Yeah, you've got to be out there, and who knows, what's going to happen. I mean, I was amazed at the uh, presidential race this year of the candidates that were on podcasts that you've never seen before.
Right.
People on, uh, you know, the candidates are showing up on all of these shows, and that didn't happen even 4 years ago. But you didn't know at the time, 4 years ago, I didn't know that podcasting, I kind of had a clue it would take off, but I didn't know exactly where it was going to go, and these
Hmm.
people didn't either. But you threw yourself in there,
Hmm.
and what do they say? I don't know. I'm sure some great person said it, that you create luck, basically. I mean, you're creating stuff. You're trying to stay one step ahead, and
Right.
and here we are with the presidential candidate sitting on 2 or 3 hour podcast shows.
Yes, that's really amazing. And by the way, I think I might have read on your profile, but when did you start your podcasting journey? What year was that?
I started in 2019,
Wow.
and uh, I'm trying to think. Well, part of it was a technology. I was able to.
Right.
Some technology came out. Spotify. It was called Anchor at the time, and it was because I knew technology, and I was always
Hmm.
looking. I can't put the feather in my cap. It was just kind of a hobby or something I wanted to do. I guess it was a way to find quicker ways around things. But Anchor came out, and some of my first podcasts were just calling up someone, having it on the phone. I listened to one of my earlier podcasts, and I had like a 25-second dead spot. I'm listening to it one day. This is years ago, and it's like a 25-second dead spot on it. It's
Hmm.
like, you wouldn't think about that now,
Yeah.
but like I say, you got to get through your first shows. But that's where I started. It was a way to get my name out there. Now I've spoken to 300 different pharmacy leaders in the
Wow.
in the world, and you know, who's going to want to talk to an old fart like me if I just called someone up and said, "Hey, you want to talk to me for a half hour, an
Hmm.
hour?" There's no way in heck that's going to happen.
Hmm.
But it's it's give and take. The guests are doing me a favor by being on the show. I'm doing them a favor maybe by putting
Right.
their name out there. It's nobody owes each other anything.
Right.
It's just that journey that people, we realize it, the guests realize it, and you just keep moving.
Right, of course. Just keep moving, and of course, when you said that, who would have known they would join your podcast? But lots of time, we do think negative before actually doing something. So, what do we
Yeah,
lose? We send requests to a lot of people on LinkedIn and send them messages, and I have seen that lots of people actually want to speak and come to my podcast. That is really amazing. They want to share their journeys, their stories, their professional life, what they are doing, because I do have a lot of pharma professionals in my network, and I think 90% of them are pharma professionals. Some are other IT professionals as well. We all work hand in hand in collaboration, but mostly there are pharma professionals. So we take advantage of each other's
sure.
network. And of course, they are given a chance to share their stories people can take advantage of. We are here providing people advantages, value, some knowledge, and who knows, we can get a few clients through that. But that comes too. That's part of the process. But first thing is that we are liking our journey. We are loving this journey that we are doing right now.
And then
So yeah,
my just to throw in there, I'm dating myself here, but
yeah,
remember the yellow pages, the telephone books, right?
right,
So I heard one time, and I think it's true, that when people have their fingers going down the yellow page and they're looking for a plumber or a dog groomer or something like that,
right.
they're not really making the decision there. They're going down until they find somebody that for some reason they have a little bit of trust built up with.
Yeah,
So, in other words, that's not where you start your marketing. You start your marketing by, back in the day, it was trying to, do something good for the community, have a little league team, write a letter to the editor or something like that. You're building up that name recognition. It's not for people to beat down your door. It's so when they have to make a decision,
right.
they're going with someone they heard of before.
Of
That's the
course.
goal, because none of this stuff is going to turn anybody into a lifelong customer, but it's that constant dribble that eventually is going to build up trust.
Right. It's reputation. That's all
That's right.
that matters in today's world. You have heard somebody's name, somebody's word of mouth,
Yes.
somebody's somebody, right? I know
Yes.
somebody in my network, and I am going to refer that person to you because, hey, Mike was looking for a website developer.
Yeah.
Mike was looking for a social media manager. That's me, by the way. But, I could refer somebody to Mike because I know somebody and then I know Mike. So it's all networking and the reputation, the good reputation that you put
Well,
out.
yes, yes, and it's you want let's say you refer somebody, you want that person to get the service, but you also don't want to look like a fool
Hmm,
by recommending somebody that might give your friend bad service
of
or be
course.
rude to them and things like that. So
Yes.
it's a trust built up of what they can do, but also even who they are with that relationship, because your reputation's on the line too.
Of course. Yes, and you build your platforms, you build yourself. If somebody lands on your LinkedIn or on your page, they gotta see something that you have put. Somebody that, like, something you are posting every day. Some words that you are saying. Are you disciplined? Are you there every day, or
Yep.
at least a few days a week? If you are disciplined, that means you are going to be serious in your job as well when you get a
Yeah, I've
client.
I've got people. I kind of joke at this. It's probably not fair of me, but sometimes I'll go online and I'll see these people that are selling their services as marketers or social media for businesses, and you go like on their LinkedIn, or you can't find them, or you go on TikTok and the last thing they posted was like 3 years ago,
I
and
know.
so that's where it helps too, with the podcast. I mean, is
Right.
if not for anything else on these things, you just list your show once a week and it keeps it fresh, because
Right.
yeah, it's it's comical to me, I guess, where they're pushing something but you never see them anywhere else.
Yeah, and it depends how reachable you are. If I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
do this podcast with you, are
True.
you reachable? I actually see the LinkedIn. Are they posting a few times a week? Are they
Nope.
commenting? Or are they actually checking their LinkedIn? And only then I do send them a message to become my guest. And
Yeah.
how reachable they are, how much reviews also come because you have been working there and you get more clients on the way, but it's all part of the journey. Just be out there, be reachable, so be easier for people to reach you. Lots of people that I work with, I have seen a lot of pharmacy owners here. They've been in the business for like 10 years, 5 years. Their social media, they have never made a page for their
Mm,
pharmacy, and they think
mm.
that's not important. But then they tell me that they do not have a lot of customers. They would like more people to come to your pharmacy and not go to the bigger chains. People are going to the bigger chains because the bigger chains are marketing themselves. The bigger chains
Well,
are always
yeah,
advertising.
yeah, and here's another one, and on the same in the same vein. It's like, if I'm talking about referrals and thing, it's like, if I am going to refer somebody, let's say that somebody either built my house or helped sell my house or something
Right.
like that. Let's say it was 5 years ago. I don't know if that person's still hungry. Let's say at
Right.
the time they were 55. I don't know if they're retired. They were
Right.
good, but they were really good. But I'm not going to send you to them, and you're a imposition to them because they want to be on the golf course or their sailboat. And so if I saw something even once a month from them that said, I'm still out here, I'm still hungry,
Right.
not in those words, but putting something out to let people know that, it builds up that referral trust. If people don't see you around, they might think that you've checked out.
Of course. And they're gonna go to the next person who's there.
Hmm.
So you
Yeah,
you
they want
lose.
someone who wants to
Yeah.
serve them.
Yeah, you lose business because it's easier to say, but on your Google you do not have a chat widget. On your Google you do not have a phone number listed or your
Yeah,
website listed. Even if
yeah,
it's there, you're not active there, so people are
right.
not going to go there. When they call you, you do not attend the phone call because you have not automated your numbers for a callback text for a missed call. You have no automation for that running on your phone number. So majority of your clients are going to the next person who is attending the
Yep.
phone call, or at least texting them that, hey, I missed your call. is it anything that I can help you with?
Yep,
You're not providing people those services, so you are missing a lot of potential clients.
that's right.
And I think last question I have for you. We are having a wonderful chat, by the way. I'm really enjoying today's session. So last
Likewise.
question, thank you, is you've had a unique journey merging pharmacy and media through the Business of Pharmacy podcast. What about your early experiences with public relations and media shaped the way you approach digital communication in the pharmacy space today? What about like the things that you faced earlier, and how far have you come and how much you have grown through all of this now?
Yeah, so years ago, uh, in every medium, there was always a middle person. And back when I started, there was always the, oh, what do we call it, photo reporter or the advanced newspaper, not the main paper, just one of those free ones, maybe
Mm-hmm.
the main one too. But you had to learn to send press releases to these people, and you had to learn to and then when the internet came up before social media, you had to know how to get on there and say the right thing and do this or that. And first of all, it's a such a beautiful time right now because there's no hardly any middleman anymore.
Right.
That can be good and bad. It's kind of like I always think I knew this guy. He said my son's a great skier. He would always brag about his son, but it's like, yeah, it costs you $1,000 to suit him up, and it's like, and to ski. It's like, how good is he? How Because where's the competition? There's
Right.
there's maybe nobody competing. And now if you really want to have someone and show how good they are, it's like buy them a soccer ball or a basketball, and now you're competing against the whole world because
Right.
everybody can afford a soccer ball, a basketball. I say that too with the media, where before you had to be good at schmoozing the middleman. Now everybody can do it, so there's more competition.
Right.
But that was my start. It was in learning to get my stuff in front of the middleman. But then, and I'm going back to what we're talking about, how things constantly change, but you're always learning, because back then it's like people could say, well, you've lost, you don't need that anymore. You don't need to be good at press releases or at getting your story in front of people, in front of the media, so they can choose you over someone else to run a front page story. And I
Right.
would say to that, I'd say, no, that's completely wrong, because it's like my podcast. It's like, I know
Hmm.
that anybody can do a podcast.
Hmm.
So it's no longer just a cool thing to say you got a podcast and your face is on it, and oh, they
Right.
got a podcast. Kind of like I talked earlier about authors and so on. It was just cool you had a book. I know that you have to shine in your show. You have to have interesting content and conversations, and have emotions go up and down and so on. And
Right.
so what I learned from schmoozing the middleman, or trying to get them to put my stuff in their paper. No,
Hmm.
there's not that anymore. But I've learned to position stuff, and I've learned to tell a story, and I've learned to have a focus on thing, and to see what someone's gonna like, to raise me up in the interest of somebody. And so for me, that's just a great example of saying, keep moving, keep learning, and this stuff may not be there. Podcast may not be there, or social media. Maybe it'll be something else.
Right.
But in this process, we've learned how to position ourselves, and that's why you got to keep doing something every day.
Of course. And then how about we meet a lot of people? I'm sure you must have grown a lot of your network, and a lot of people have joined you. A lot of people know you now. Like for example, for myself, I see so many people sending me requests now because I'm out there all the time on LinkedIn, and so many people, new pharmacy graduates, They want to know about their career
Yep.
navigation. What can they do with their degrees? What's out there on digital media that they can use themselves for? So a lot of people connect with me on that level. They ask me
Hmm.
for consultation sessions, and like for example, if I have a good podcaster as a guest on my podcast, they could at least connect with that podcaster to just ask them questions like, how can I start doing that? So,
Hmm.
we have more network with good people, with potential like people that we really wanna see in our network. That's the power of media, and if we wouldn't be doing this, we wouldn't be there at all.
And you don't know. I mean, you just don't know in an approaching army or something. You don't know who's going to make that lucky shot, and
Right.
take out you know, competitor or something like that. It's like you don't know what's going to break through. Out of the 100 things you do, you can't predict what's going to do, but one thing is going to land with somebody. But it's just like earlier, I said getting guests is a numbers game. It's the same with putting stuff out there. It's just a numbers game.
Right. Of course, yeah, it's just a numbers game, and do not be for the new people. I would say do not be demotivated that you do not have a lot of audience. You are doing a good thing if you just believe in yourself and you keep doing it. Who knows? There could be a one person, there could be one audience. That could be your biggest client and your biggest
Absolutely.
biggest best word of mouth for you, your best review person. So that's all that you want. I just say
Yes,
keep
exactly.
going. Yeah, keep going the good stuff, Mike, and I'm really impressed by your journey and what you are doing. I really enjoyed today's conversation, by the way.
Well, my pleasure, Nam. And I learned a long time ago, and this is the
Hmm.
same thing. Is I will talk to. I can't think of anybody I won't talk to because, uh, first of all, it's just a pleasure to talk to people. Secondly, you might pick up somebody might show an interest or something from someone else's listeners. And thirdly, it's like I'm not too stupid to know that a lot of people I talk to are going to pass me right by, and then I can wave to them from the bottom when they're up there on top.
Right. Of course. Yeah. Totally makes sense. I think we are approaching to the end of our episode today. I really want to thank Mike. I want to thank all of my audience, Japanese Core, Asad, Yusuf, and all the people who have dropped. But I really want to be thankful to everybody who joined us today, especially you, Mike, for providing us so much value and education through your podcast. And as I said, I am recording this session and it will be available on my website for our listeners to listen to it and get more value and, just keep doing the great things that we are doing now. Keep it up, guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And I'm going to end this session today. Thank you so much. You have a great day.
Thanks, Mel.